This week on Great British Menu, 3 of Northern Ireland's most talented chefs. Competing for the 3rd time, Chris McGowan has the banquet in his sights.
I want to represent Northern Ireland, that's why I'm here.
Daniel Clifford's 2 Michelin-starred protege, Mark Abbott.
I need to walk in this kitchen and just go for it.
And Eddie Atwell, for whom local produce is king.
You're confident you're going to get enough flavour?
I'll get enough flavour out of it, I'll get it out.
In the year of the Queen's 90th birthday, the chefs are celebrating the extraordinary Great Britons she's acknowledged throughout her reign, and competing for the chance to cook for them at an historic banquet at the Palace of Westminster. 1 course in, and Mark Abbott is at the top, wowing veteran Michael O'Hare with a perfect dish.
I'm scoring you 10. I thought it was flawless.
Eddie is 2 points behind, with Chris in 3rd place.
It's not the end of the world. I've come from behind before.
Today is the fish course, and Mark is aiming for perfection again.
We don't do things by hand.
I don't. I like pushing boundaries, chef.
But Chris and Eddie are determined to close the gap.
You're very quiet over here, very focused.
Just trying to concentrate on trying to get this bang on.
It's looking good, Chief.
Thanks, Chef.
The competition
Wait.
is fierce.
We all want perfection, that's what we're here for, that's what we're striving for.
Oh, no.
What's wrong?
I forgot the mussel, chef.
The veteran judging the chefs on technique and invention is Michelin-starred Michael O'Hare. A former banquet champion, he's expecting exceptional skill and style.
It's fish course today, a course close to my heart. It's a dish that I got to the banquet. I'd like to see some innovative, clever cooking and use of great ingredients.
It's a new course. The slate's clean, really, isn't it?
Yourself and myself, Eddie, we've got a bit to prove.
At the end of the day, what's 2 points?
It's all to play for.
It is. Thing is, with fish, there's no mercy.
First up, Mark Abbott. Veteran judge Michael couldn't find fault with his imaginative and original starter. But now Mark's feeling the pressure of having to maintain that standard.
I need to be more focused this time because it's fish. It's got no forgiveness. As I've got 10 for the starter, I want the same again. I need to be on it.
Mark,
How you doing?
congratulations on your starter course.
Thank you very much indeed.
It was excellent.
Yeah, I'm still coming down off it.
So talk to me. What's the dish?
The dish is called Shell-sational.
Shell-sational.
Shell-sational. I remember the very first time that I had the opportunity of tasting these phenomenal products. And I want to give these people this banquet that same memory.
So Mark, what are you actually cooking? What are you going to make?
I'm going to be serving the majority of the shellfish in a box and then a plate of just very refined, beautiful lobster.
Right.
In the main box, you're going to have an oyster which is dressed in oyster leaf. The razor clam, that's going to be served with a little fennel salad. I'm just going to take the mussels out, drop them into a little tempura. I'm going to caramelise the scallop in the stove. I'm going to break the lobster down, cook the tails in a smoked lobster butter.
OK.
The claws are then going to be diced up, mixed with some cucumber. So really it's going to be like a little cucumber roll surrounded in apple.
Right. You like giving yourself a lot of work to do, huh?
I like pushing boundaries, chef.
Well, I was impressed with your starter and I'm looking forward to this. Mark, there's some fantastic ingredients in that box. I'm a little concerned, again, that he's giving himself too much to do. With fish, there's really no margin for error.
Next is fellow newcomer Eddie Atwell, whose starter lost valuable marks for presentation. So he's hoping to remedy that today.
Pressure's really on for this course. It's just executing everything in the way that I want it. If I can pull that off, then hopefully with the fish course I can score a wee bit higher.
Eddie.
Hi, Chef.
What's the title of your dish?
So it's a turbotine jubilee.
Turbotine Jubilee?
Yep. And it's the influence of the French ingredients that we all sought after and imported in to try and use, but this is a British box of ingredients, and this is where we're at now.
Right, OK. So what are you cooking?
I'm going to be using this turbot. I wanted to break it down into an individual portion for a banquet. I'll be making a mousse with a lobster.
Where's the mousse going?
So the mousse will be going inside to fill
In the
with the
middle.
fish.
OK.
As well, then we'll have some little scallops laid over to finish, and then some of this English caviar. And rather than champagne sauce, we're using a sparkling English wine as well.
What are you doing with the potatoes?
So I'll be baking those potatoes whole, knocking it back and piping. The samphire, we forage ourselves. I do like to bring stuff back to the restaurant and try and involve these elements.
It's quite a classical, old-fashioned French dish, then.
It is.
How are you going to innovate that? How are you going to push that forward to make it modern?
Just the use of the British and local ingredients, really, for me, is how it's the way I like to cook.
And you feeling confident?
Much more confident, chef.
Eddie's dish, a really classical dish. He's got some incredible ingredients, that turbot and the lobster that he's going to stuff it with, caviar on top. It's pure opulence. I just hope they can reinvent this and make it modern.
Last up, Chris McGowan. He scored a disappointing 7 for his starter, but is determined to claw back points and make a mark on the competition.
I know that I've got a bit to do, but I'm hoping Michael sees that I'm putting the effort in, that I'm not just here to make up the numbers. I want to represent Northern Ireland, that's why I'm here.
Chris.
Hi, Michael.
How are you doing?
I'm very good.
Title of your dish?
National treasure. We're an island, we're surrounded by coastline. A lot of people get their livelihood from that, and I kind of want to celebrate that, you know? So we've got a lovely piece of cod, and I'm going to serve the skin separately, so I'm going to crisp that up so it's like little wafers. And then we've got some potatoes, Northern Irish. We like our potatoes in Northern Ireland, obviously.
You like your potatoes?
I like a good spud.
I'm just going to take the skin off the cod and use the potato instead of the skin. And then we're going to use a little bit of scallop mousse that's going to go onto the cod, and then we're going to put the potato on top.
So you're doing potato on top of a salted cod line?
Yes. And then the other scallop I'm going to roast. The peas, I'm just going to cook them really simply. A little bit of wilted spinach in there, some fresh mint. Just keep it really fresh.
And what we got here?
We have a little vinegar powder so that then people can kind of season their own skins and their own fish if they wish.
Right, OK. So last year, you know, I did a very similar dish with potato and cod, a fish and chips, so to speak, and got to the banquet.
Last year was obviously something that was very close to you. This is close to me. I'm hoping that I can do the ingredients justice, you know.
Chris is doing a take on fish and chips. I obviously love this idea. I just hope that Chris can do it in his own unique way, so maybe we can see it in a different light.
As they start cooking their fish courses, Mark's score yesterday is the talk of the kitchen.
Obviously, Mark, you got a 10 for your star.
Yeah.
No pressure. There's not much you can improve on.
It's definitely not the case, mate. If I go into the mentality of, oh yeah, you got a 10, it's completely fine, I think I'm completely shooting myself in the foot. I need to just go for it.
Yeah.
All 3 chefs are using scallops today. Mark will be searing his in a hot pan, then baking with the seaweed butter and chopped yuzu zest. Eddie will be topping his turbot with thinly sliced scallops, while Chris will sear some of his and use the rest to make a scallop mousse, which will hold the grated potato on his fillet of cod.
We've got some of the best shellfish in the world around our wars.
We just don't use it.
Yeah.
Looking back on it as a kid, you really should think, where does that all go? Fish fingers?
Yeah, exactly.
To make the mousse, Chris blends scallops before passing through a fine sieve, then folds through double cream and egg white and leaves to set.
So, Chris, are you confident with this dish today?
Obviously, Michael's gone to the banquet with a dish that had the same components, so he's looking for absolute perfection on this, which is fair enough. I mean, we all want perfection. That's what we're here for. That's what we're striving for.
Next, Chris prepares his crispy cod skins by drying them in the dehydrator and deep frying. The skins will be served with a tartare sauce, which he makes by combining chopped gherkins, shallots and capers with English mustard, chervil and tarragon, then folding into mayonnaise.
Chef, you're very focused.
Just trying to concentrate on trying to get this absolutely bang on, you know?
Eddie begins his lobster sauce.
Wait.
He adds diced vegetables and a selection of aromatics to a tray of roasted lobster shells. Next, some English sparkling wine, before adding chicken stock and leaving to reduce.
So, Eddie, you got a lot on, boss?
I do, chef, yeah. A lot of elements, everything needs to be right for this one, really. It's very classical, so...
There's no school like the old school, innit?
Yeah, this is
You know what
it,
I mean?
you know?
Mark's also using lobster. He's serving the claws and tail with a smoked lobster butter and lobster sauce. He starts by hot smoking lobster shells for the butter, then smokes lobster tails that have been lightly blanched.
I never got a chance to taste shellfish until I was 16 years of age, and I want to give these people that memory which I have from the very first time I tasted it.
Mark went to Gloucester to meet one of the Great Britons he's hoping to honour with his celebration of great British seafood. 17-year-old Louise Greer is the youngest person from Northern Ireland to be awarded the British Empire Medal.
I took meningitis at 2.5, which left me a quadruple amputee. and I had to have physio, but it wasn't very fun. So I went into horse riding as my physio to build up my core so I could walk in my prosthetic legs.
Louise now rides with the Paralympic team and works tirelessly to raise awareness of meningitis and riding for the disabled. In 2015, Louise's work was recognised by the Queen.
So when you got that letter from the Queen, how did you feel?
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it at the start, and then I was so excited.
It's very clear you're so determined. Where does that come from?
My drive is that I can do everything, even if I need to adapt it a bit. Like my horse riding, I've needed to adapt my saddle and my reins, but it still keeps me going.
Louise has never eaten seafood before, so it was up to Mark to get her hooked by serving up a taste of his fish dish using the very best of British coastal produce.
So that, you got a bit of lobster there, so it's slightly smoky.
Wow, that was really good.
And that's scallop.
I'll be definitely having this again. Can't believe how much flavour it has in it.
So this is actually your first time being from Northern Ireland, surrounded by sea, eating shellfish.
Yeah, I've never really tried it before, but now I really like it.
I'm so pleased you like it.
I didn't know that food could taste that good. I hope Mark goes all the way in the competition. I'll be rooting for him every step of the way.
From meeting Louise, it's given me that confidence now. The determination, it's infectious from her. It rubs off onto you, of course it does, and it just wants you to succeed even more.
Back in the kitchen, Mark prepares an oyster leaf dressing by blending oyster trimmings, oyster leaves and cucumber with olive oil and lemon juice. He also makes a lobster mayonnaise by emulsifying egg yolk with lobster oil and white wine vinegar.
Got to have your lobster oil?
All I've done, mate, is toasted off the lobster shells and then infused them with the, peanut oil.
Is it split quite easy?
Not really. Depends who's making it, doesn't it?
Wait.
Eddie is now preparing his turbot. Traditionally, turbotine jubilee is served with the fish whole, but Eddie will be serving his as individual fillets stuffed with lobster mousse.
You got a sweat on over there, boss.
Oh, lobster sweat.
He starts his mousse by blending blanched lobster meat and passing through a fine sieve. He then folds in double cream and egg white and seasons with cayenne pepper and lemon juice.
Hey, Chef.
Eddie, you look busy.
Yeah, busy again.
Lot going on?
Absolutely.
What you got in here? Lobster stock?
Lobster stock, yeah. So then I'm starting off with sauce as well. Just trying to get as much flavour as I can.
You drinking enough water?
Right, am I in it?
Can I try this?
Absolutely, Chef.
Has it been on very long?
Since the start of here, Chef, so it's going to have to come right down. I'm pretty much going to get enough of the portion out of this, and that's kind of the pressure on me here to get enough flavour.
You're confident you're going to get enough flavour?
I'll get enough flavour out of it. We'll get it out.
And now you're looking for time?
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Make sure you drink, huh?
Absolutely.
Eddie, again, is working really hard. There's pans boiling away everywhere, and I think he's really panicking to see if he can get that flavour in the time frame. It's got a bit of space to go, but I'll be interested to see how it works out.
Eddie pipes the mousse into his fillets of turbot before sealing with fish skin and cooking in a water bath until the mousse is set. He also prepares his Duchess potatoes by piping mashed potato and browning under the grill.
Right, Chef?
Wait.
Chris is also using potatoes. He'll be serving triple-cooked chips, but first he grates a waxy potato and cooks sous vide. This will then be used to coat his cod loin.
Chris, how are you getting on?
I'm okay, Michael. How are you?
Yeah, what are you making?
So I've just done a little tester on the mousse. I just want to check that it's not split, that I'm happy with the consistency.
OK, and remind me again, where does this go on the dish?
So this, then, we're just going to lightly smear the top of the cod.
Right.
And then these are the potatoes, power cook those.
OK.
Kind of release the starch from them. And then I'm just going to lay that flat, roll it out, and then just kind of sandwich it around that cod.
OK, well, it smells lovely in here. Good luck, Chris.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
Crack on.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Chris assembles his cod fillet by spreading scallop mousse onto the fish and topping with grated potato. He'll cook the fish just before service.
Chris's dish appears a lot simpler compared to the other two chefs, but that's not always a bad thing, and if he can execute it well, he's still able to get those high scores.
Across the kitchen, Mark is working on his lobster rolls.
Mark, I'm intrigued. What you got going on here?
So I'm just cutting the apple for my cannellonis. I'm just going to cut it into sheets and then compress that in a pickle.
So this is essentially going to be like a pasta, if you like, for the cannelloni?
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a cannelloni. The filling's going to be the lobster claw mixed with the lobster mayonnaise.
You keep yourself busy, eh, Mark?
I try to, chef.
I'll let you crack on. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Mark assembles his lobster cannelloni by rolling lobster claw and cucumber balls dressed in lobster mayonnaise in sheets of compressed pickled apple. He also makes his lobster sauce by sweating mushrooms and shallots in smoked lobster butter, adding white wine and fish stock, then reducing. He finishes with creme fraiche and more butter and lemon.
Mark appears to be incredibly comfortable in that kitchen, given the pressure of the competition. I'm hoping he doesn't let his standards drop with his comfort.
First to the pass is Eddie with his dish, Turbotine Jubilee. He finishes his turbot with thinly sliced scallop, which he colours under the grill. Then starts his plate with pan-fried spinach.
Eddie, do you need a hand with them then, Chief?
No, I'm all good, chef.
Next, his fillet of turbot stuffed with lobster mousse.
How's the fish, Eddie?
Over there, chef. Moose is set inside. Please just hold in.
Eddie tops his turbot with Duchess potatoes and his foraged sautéed samphire.
You pushing there, Eddie? You going to be on time?
Been pushing all day, chef, but yep, I can make it up there.
It's looking good, Chief.
Thanks, chef.
Finally, Eddie garnishes with British caviar and braised artichoke hearts. The lobster sauce is served in a mini saucepan.
Chef.
How you feeling?
Super.
So, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks great. You know, it's a beautiful piece of fish.
And this guy's put his heart and soul into that.
Right, let's go through.
Lobster, turbot, caviar.
What's not to like, Chief?
Happy with how it's turned out?
Just as long as the mousse is all right inside the fish, I'll be happy.
The meatiness of the turbot, I think, is lovely. Turbot's cooked fantastic.
Oh, look at that. It just falls apart.
Yeah.
Do you think the flavour of the lobster just in the mousse is enough to come through?
Yep, accompanied by the sauce as well. For me, it's the two are coming together.
I'm not sure if that mousse is wet or maybe starting to split.
It's difficult because it's inside the turbot, so the turbot makes it wet, so it's a little bit softer than you would like, but the flavour's there.
The scallop on the top of the fish, you think they added to the dish?
Yeah, absolutely.
The scallops, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're beautifully seasoned,
Yeah.
and the cooking of them is it's perfect.
The pomme duchesse, are you happy with how light they are, crispy?
I want it as late as possible. I'm happy with how it's come and finished.
The Duchess is lovely. It's nice and creamy.
For me, that's actually the first time I've ever tasted one.
Get away.
No, really.
Were you able to extract enough flavour from the lobster in the time given?
For me, chef, I think I got exactly the element I needed there, and I'm happy with the depth of where it is.
Yeah, the sauce certainly packs a punch. You can tell there's been quite a bit of alcohol reduced into that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece of cookery, but I just don't feel it's modern enough.
Yeah.
Next up is Chris with his dish, National Treasure. He finishes his fillet of cod in the pan and deep fries his chips a second time.
Oh, chef.
So, Eddie, how was that?
Tense again.
Well done.
Intense.
Great piece of cooking, mate.
Thanks, chef.
Love the turbot, love the sauce.
So you're up next, chef?
Yeah,
How's everything coming out for you?
it's all there. Just got to look after this fish now.
Chris starts by presenting his crispy cod skins on a boat, accompanied by miniature bags of malt vinegar powder.
Boat still rocking?
Still rock and roll, Eddie.
Next, tartar sauce.
Let's hope there's no man overboard.
Yo.
Do you know what I mean?
Please, chef.
Yeah, we'll have to send up the flare.
He starts his plate with minted pea and spinach puree. Then rings of shallots pickled in cider vinegar. Then he sears his scallops.
That's old school.
This is proper old school, yeah.
On with the triple cooked chips and the scallop.
Chris, how are you getting on?
Nearly there, Michael.
The final element is Chris's fillet of cod, topped with a layer of scallop mousse and grated potato.
Are you happy with the cooking of the fish, Chief?
Yeah.
Chris garnishes with pea shoots and fresh oyster leaves.
I can't help but notice the names on the boat.
I made these myself, so I just wanted to personalise them.
Well, I'm honoured. I've never had a boat named after me. Guys, should we go and eat it?
Yeah, I think so.
Guys, I'll leave you with your own boat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You enjoy, yeah?
The presentation's just fantastic, isn't it?
Chris has made these boats himself. Tip of the cap for him for doing that.
So you've cured the cod in advance?
Just ever so slightly, yeah. I just want to tighten the flesh up a little bit.
Look at the cooking of that.
That's unbelievable.
Just flakes. That's a piece of cod cooked with
Absolutely.
tremendous skill and love.
The king scallop and the herbs you had on there.
Yeah, just a little bit of pea shoot and just a nice little oyster leaf. Again, just to kind of give that shellfish note through, that kind of oyster flavour coming from the sea, you know.
Yes, seasoned beautifully. Once again with the pea puree, works stunningly.
Yeah, the scallop just stands out on its own now, really.
And the potatoes on top. Are you happy with the texture of those potatoes?
You could argue that it could be marginally thinner.
For me, if you're going to call a chip, it needs to be fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
There's bags of flavour in there, but it wasn't crisp.
Yeah.
Are you happy with how it's all come together?
Yeah, I think all the flavours work really well together. There's a little bit of a modern twist on it, so there's a little bit more refinement to it than your quintessential fish and chips, you know.
That's a beautiful plate of food.
Absolutely. It's just perfection from Chris.
What would you score it?
Yeah, you know, I'd love to get an 8 or 9. That would be amazing for me. I mean, it would put me back in the game.
Mark is last to the pass with his complex dish of 5 different types of seafood. He starts by steaming mussels, which will be deep fried in a tempura batter at the last minute.
Chef, that cod was unbelievable, huh?
Yeah? You happy with it?
Oh,
Yeah.
the crease, that was beautiful.
The cooking of that was a tribute to yourself.
Yeah.
The two of us diving on the scallop.
Yeah. Do you want a hand with it, Chief?
I'm all good, boys.
Sure.
Thank you very much, though. I do appreciate it.
First, Mark assembles his seafood box, which he'll warm and use to present 4 types of shellfish served 4 different ways. He starts with oyster in an oyster leaf and cucumber dressing, on a bed of diced cucumber and garnished with oyster leaf. Next, razor clams on a fennel salad, topped with fennel cress.
Mark,
Yes, chef.
you on time?
I am indeed.
Mark also serves scallop in the shell, which he pan-fries before baking with seaweed butter and grated yuzu.
Want to try there, Chef?
Next, Mark moves on to the lobster. He finishes the tail in the pan with smoked lobster butter and then dresses with smoked lobster sauce.
Are you happy with the lobster?
Yeah, the lobster's lovely. It's been poached, slightly roasted.
Onto a separate plate, the lobster claw and cucumber roll, garnished with a frisee salad, followed by the lobster tail.
Oh, no.
What's wrong?
I forgot my mussels, chef.
You got some fish going all day, chef?
Be on the pass in less than 5, please.
Mark dresses the forgotten mussels with lemon gel and adds to the box.
We all there?
We're there, chef.
Well, you don't do things by halves, do you?
I don't.
Chris, what do you make of this?
Yeah, he's just another masterclass, you know what I mean?
Right, we should probably go and eat it before it goes cold.
Yes, please, chef.
Enjoy. There's a real scent coming through here. What's under here?
Yeah, so I've heated the boxes with seaweed in it, so it smells coastal.
You can see that he's come here with some serious intent, you know?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of skill
It's a lot of packing.
and precision.
Happy with the cooking on that?
I'm very happy. That's why I like my lobster.
There's no fault in that, you mean? And lobster, notoriously difficult to cook. It can become rubbery and overcooked very quickly. I mean, he's absolutely nailed that, yeah?
That's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
So the mussel. Let's start with
The
that.
mussel, yeah.
Are you happy with how they've come out?
Honestly, I feel it could have had maybe 20 seconds longer in the fryer.
And is the oyster cooked?
No, it's raw.
The oyster's just so fresh in there. It just sings out for itself.
And a little bit of cucumber underneath it.
Just fresh in it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The scallop with the seaweed and yuzu, you think that works well together?
Well, it's scallop and citrus, and it's from the sea, so does seaweed. For me, it's a marriage.
I'm trying to find fault, but there's not. It's just an absolute celebration of shellfish.
It is. He's really made everything sing.
Yeah.
What would you give it?
I give it an 8.
What aren't you happy with?
The mussel, I don't find that's excusable, the fact I've forgotten it. All right, boys.
How was that for you?
Forgot my mussel, didn't I? Had to run back and get it. It wasn't a full sheet today by any means.
It was beautiful, mate. Every element for me was just fantastic.
For me, that was bang on. I give you a 10, mate. Seriously,
Really?
and it kills me you say that. Do you know what I mean?
Hello, chefs.
Hello, chef.
It's been a pretty intense day in the kitchen. I'm going to start with you, Chris, and your dish, National Treasure. When I saw the board, I thought it might have been a little twee, but actually it was a lot of fun. The cod was cooked to perfection, and the scallop also. What I really liked was the chip. It was kind of like a chip shop chip, where it did have an element of sogginess to it, and I thought that was brilliant. But the pea and mint puree was delicious, but for me, there was quite a lot of it, and it became a little overpowering with the rest of the ingredients.
Okay.
Both you and I know that the potato on the top of the cod wasn't as you'd like. It's a little starchy and a little soggy. Next, Eddie, and your dish, turbotine jubilee. The turbot was cooked beautifully, and I also enjoyed the scallop. I liked the lobster mousse, and given the time frame, I think you got a lot of flavour into it. But I think we lost the sense of you as a chef in that dish. It was heavily classical, and there was no real personality from you that came through. I think the whole dish lacked a little bit of precision. No one can deny the workload that you put in. It's very busy, but with that, it can easily become a little bit messy. That busyness is affecting your end product. And finally, Mark, with your dish, Shelsational. Again, I was worried about you cooking so many elements. And I do have a little niggle about that almost forgotten mussel. However, the aroma from that box was really great. The smell was exactly like Whitby or, you know, the seaside. I really enjoyed that smell. It was so strong and so pleasant. That lobster is the tastiest lobster I've ever eaten in my entire life. I think it really benefited from that second cooking, that really aggressive hit at the end. And it was so tender and so soft. I thought the lemon gel was perfect. That didn't overpower the mussel. This was a contemporary approach to classic flavours. It delivered completely on style and integrity. It's to the scores. Chris, I'm giving you an 8.
Thank you.
Eddie, I'm giving you a 6. And Mark, and I thought a lot about this. It's another 10. Second 10 of the week. It was so impressive. Congratulations. Phenomenal cooking.
Good man.
Thank you.
Well done, everyone. Get home, get some rest, and I can't wait to see you all tomorrow for Makeoff.
Thanks, Chef.
Thank you.
Speeches.
Listen, we both give you a 10 for that.
Fair play,
Can't deny it, you know?
With 2 courses down, Chris has moved into second place, with Mark still top and Eddie in third.
I can't believe he got 9 out of 10. I feel like an emotional wreck. I'm in bits. He said it and it caught the back of my throat and I literally was speechless.
I suppose it's all for us to do, Eddie, isn't it?
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
After the starter, I was 1 point ahead of Chris. After this fish course, I'm 1 point behind. That's how this competition can go up and down. Let's just hope tomorrow brings something else.
It's great to get an 8 from my fish course. It means that me and Eddie are almost neck and neck, so bring on the main course.